What if I told you the government is proposing a major policy shift that will affect who gets to buy a home in this country? And it could affect you as a buyer, a seller, a tenant, or maybe just someone who wants to get a place of their own. Today, we're going to be talking about why President Trump wants to ban institutional investors from purchasing single-family homes in America, and what this actually means and how it could help or potentially hurt you as a buyer or a seller in Onslow County, North Carolina. What's up, everyone? Stephen L. Skakandi here with the Skakandi Group and living in and around Jacksonville, North Carolina. If you're thinking about housing in Onslow County or Jacksonville, North Carolina, either selling, buying, investing, or relocating, whether it be in 9 months or 9 days, we help people every day just like you. You are in the perfect place to get simple, real explanations of today's most talked about trends. So make sure you hit that like and smash that subscribe button, and we'll get started. First, let's make sure that we are on the same page. An institutional investor. What does that even mean? When people say institutional investor, they're not talking about your neighbor that owns a rental property. Or they're not talking about the mom and pop investor that might own several. An institutional investor is more clearly defined as an organization, a huge organization that might be faceless or nameless, that buys hundreds or thousands of homes. They buy these homes as part of their investment assets, often to rent them out or to hold them in a larger portfolio in order to gain equity. A few of these large firms you've heard the names of, companies like BlackRock, Vanguard, Invitation Homes, and American Homes for Rent. Companies that buy or hold properties not to live in them, but to earn rental income or get a major return on their investment. Look at this chart. You'll notice that only a small percentage of single-family homes nationwide are owned by these large institutional investors, though that can vary by region. For example, if you were not in Onslow County, North Carolina, a region, say, like Miami, Florida, Tucson, Arizona, New York City, you'll notice that there are, in fact, more institutional investors in these huge metro areas. Most investors that own these homes are mom and pop, folks with just a handful of rentals. Now let's talk about why this is even on the table. President Trump has publicly stated that large investors buying single-family homes has made it harder for first-time buyers to enter in the real estate market. Think about it. These investors pay cash. They don't have to secure financing, and it makes it hard for the first-time person to compete. So the idea is that if we restrict these large corporations from buying these single-family homes, it would do some things to benefit first-time home buyers. It would reduce competition. That's a huge thing for a first-time home buyer. It would potentially keep more houses on the market for owner occupants, and it would make it easier for families not having to compete with big-time capital. Sounds completely fair. And in a market like ours, we have a lot of first-time home buyers. Here's a chart of how investor activity has changed over the last few years and why this proposal is gaining attention. So let's go ahead and look at 5 pros and ways this could potentially help you. The first one, less competition with buyers that have very deep pockets. When institutional investors swoop in, they typically pay all cash and they don't need traditional financing compared to a traditional buyer that needs a traditional loan, particularly in our market with such loans as VA, FHA, and USDA. That could be a problem. Restricting these institutional buyers would in turn open up more inventory. Pro number 2, more homes are potentially available for families. First-time home buyers and their families could potentially find more homes available on the market for them to purchase if they didn't have to compete against institutional investors. Perhaps more importantly, these families could find these homes at more affordable prices. Pro 3, this helps affordability and the narrative of affordability for home buyers. We've talked about the American dream before, and the American dream is very much ingrained in people. You want to own your own home. Now, with a policy like this, the American dream could potentially be more affordable. Pro 4, focus on owner-occupied properties. If fewer homes are scooped up for rental, That means more homes are available for owner-occupied and traditional buyers to live in them. This could help stabilize community ownership and perhaps help neighborhood blight. When you have homeowners, generally speaking, they take better care of the property and the community that the home is in. Pro 5, potential for downward pressure on prices in some markets. People have been concerned about affordability, and if there are fewer institutional investors looking for homes, now all of a sudden you might see prices actually start to come down with less competition. Now let's talk about how this could hurt buyers and sellers and talk about some cons. Con number 1, institutional investors are actually a small share nationally. If you go back to our chart and think about how many institutional investors are buying properties, it's 1 to 3% nationwide. In Onslow County and Jacksonville, it's even smaller than that. Not that we're asking them to come, mind you, but that's simply the fact that it is a very small percentage of the population. Therefore, it's going to have a limited impact. It simply is just not a player in our market. Con number 2, it could actually reduce construction investment in an area. If there's not as much money flowing into the area for construction, home building, things like that, that could have a trickle-down effect on other things, not just housing, but it also could mean actually less new construction in the area. Perhaps con number 3 in the 21st century is the most, I would say, complicated and difficult one. What is that I'm talking about? Implementation, due to the legal complexity of what you're trying to do. What constitutes exactly an institutional investor? We might have trouble defining that in the eyes of the law. And who actually comes under institutional investor? What volume do you have to hit to become an institutional investor? How is that going to play off things? Maybe that's a question for another time. Con number 4, this could actually raise rents. If there are fewer investor homes out there and investors buy fewer homes and shift towards rentals they already own, rents could rise as supply tightens in the rental market. So you might actually see rent prices go up. Con number 5, it might not actually address the root concern of the problem. Economists have many opinions, but one of the opinions that actually matters is that the real issue might not very well be who buys the housing. It might actually be a housing shortage. So this ban in and of itself might actually not fix the affordability issue. So let's tie all this together and figure out what this means. Well, I think maybe you've already drawn the conclusion that it depends what side of the fence you're sitting on. If you're a buyer, this could actually help reduce competition in some markets. If you're a buyer in Onslow County or Jacksonville, I think you'll find that it's very negligible in terms of fixing the competition issue because institutional investors don't play a huge part here. If you're a seller, losing institutional buyers is going to mean less money in the market and possibly a smaller investor pool, buyer pool, particularly if we're talking about such places as North Topsail, Surf City, or Topsail Beach. Places like that, we might find that you have less buyers to choose from. Maybe you'll have more competition from traditional buyers, but overall probably less buyers. And if you're an investor or landlord, you're going to have to change your strategy. What does that look like for you individually? And that's something that I could definitely help you out with. Okay, here's a theoretical look at how prices might move in different scenarios. Check it out. All right, bottom line. This proposal to ban institutional investors is a big idea. It's a hot button issue, and a lot of people are talking about it right now. And there's a lot of vigorous debate on all sides of the fence. Whether it works or has a very limited impact is going to depend on where your market is, how it is implemented by Congress, and how the market reacts. But there's one thing I want you to walk away with. You need a strategy. That's why you've got to come and speak to somebody, a professional agent like me, to help you with the largest selling or buying decision in your life. So whether you're thinking of selling, buying, or investing in Onslow County or Jacksonville, North Carolina, and whether it be 9 months or 9 days, I help people like yourself every day. We're looking forward to hearing from you. I'm Stephen L. Skakandi with the Skakandi Group at Living in and around Jacksonville, North Carolina. And if you like this video, be sure to like, smash that subscribe button. So call, text, or email anytime, no pressure, just real answers. I look forward to seeing you in our next video.